you're speaking directly into the microphone when speaking. Also, those in the gallery, if you would like to speak, please step up to the podium and speak into the microphone. You'll have 5 minutes to speak without any interruptions from anybody in council or the gallery. So please make sure your cell phones are off or on silent. First, we'll have committee meetings. And we're going to start off with City, Property, Parks, and Recreation with Mr. Moore.
Thank you, Mr. President. I will call the City Properties, Parks, and Rec Committee to order at 6:01 p.m. We do have new requested legislation. The first being a letter from Dallas Moore, Councilman Ward 3, requesting legislation to express that Barberton City Council no longer has confidence in the Parks Commission. Please see request. I'm sure there will be some discussion on this. So before we get into this, I would just like to say that tonight I want to be clear about the purpose of the Parks and Rec Committee meeting. We'll be discussing a charged topic, and we must all set aside personal views as we do this work. Our role is to review facts, conduct a thorough and fair examination of evidence, and ensure we are acting in the best interest of our community. The process is in no way directed at the Parks and Recreation staff members. Our focus is on the actions and decisions of the director and the commission members. It is not about making allegations or engaging in character assassination, but about fairness, transparency, and accountability. And I also want to be clear about expectations for conduct. I will not tolerate any lashing out in response to questions or statements. After one warning, anyone who continues such behavior will be asked to leave the council chambers for the remaining of this committee meeting. I ask we approach this topic approach this work with professionalism and respect for everyone involved. I did request commission and director to show up, and I do not see them in attendance tonight. No? Okay. So that kind of messes up where I wanted to start off with this. I guess we'll start with that there was an executive session entered January 8th by the Parks Commission at 5:30 p.m. with only 3 members present. 2 were not at this meeting. I guess my first question is for our law director and HR director. Were either of you asked to attend this meeting talking about personnel issues?
Law Director Miller, I was not asked. I was not.
Okay, thank you. So they entered executive session to talk about personnel matters with barely a forum of their people. And then on January 13th, they entered another executive session in which everyone was there, and they all voted to keep Don Patterson, or to take him off of the, my apologies here, to rescind their notice of paid administrative leave, which was recommended by HR, correct? To put him on a...
I did recommend administrative leave, yes.
Okay, thank you. So the next thing I wanted to talk about is the personal conduct and corrective action from the employee handbook. I'm just going to read it. Sorry to take up so much time tonight, but I feel like it's very important. As public servants and city workers, we serve the citizens of the city. City employees shall conduct themselves both on and off the job in a manner which will elicit pride, confidence, and respect from the citizens of Barberton and surrounding communities. As such, acts or conduct occurring on or off the job that are of such a nature that to continue the employee in the assigned position could constitute negligence in regard to the city's responsibilities to the public. Will be subject to corrective action up to and including termination. Ms. Eichmann, did you recommend termination for Mr. Patterson?
After the case was completed, I did give a recommendation to the Parks Commission for termination for dishonesty. The reason being that Mr. Patterson was lying to Human Resources about circumstances surrounding a possible discipline. So, I that happened the date he was put on administrative leave.
Okay, thank you. I think most of us are aware, and it was public knowledge made by a citizen addressing council last week, that Mr. Patterson did have some legal issues and had a warrant out for his arrest. He did not disclose that to HR, is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. Did he ever disclose that to you?
He did not disclose it to me. I was notified on 10/29 by Mr. Patterson when I went to put him on paid administrative leave, because at that time, no one had contacted me, and I'm required to be contacted within 5 days. And I did let Mr. Patterson know that I wasn't aware. He said that he had told Mr. Moore. I was not aware that he had told Mr. Moore.
Okay, thank you. Does anyone else have any questions or statements? Start.
This is gonna be a weird question. Like, has this happened before? Like, do we have a precedent for like I would hope it's no. I hope the answer that you have is no. But I'm just looking for, other cases where this may have happened
Precedents for arrests or convictions?
in how we deal
Yeah,
with it.
it's in the handbook. Yes, we do.
He's asking if we've ever had a
Oh,
trial.
we have, yes. Yes, we have.
And in those cases, was it termination? Is that how we handled it, or is
So,
this?
I did not recommend termination because of a conviction or what happened with that case. Okay. If they were a classified employee, there would be due process. So we would have to still, sometimes they're put on paid administrative leave, sometimes they are not, it depends on the case. And then you have to wait until the case is finalized, and then you proceed with, if any discipline is warranted.
Counselor Stahl, to be clear, that I've been here a little bit longer than Jamie. My experience with this has been OBIs. We've had one, maybe two employees that I can recollect with an OBI. And of course, they were not permitted to drive while the case was pending. And that is my recollection off the top of my head.
Anything for anyone else? No? No? Okay. So seeing that, I would like to call a vote for this, to put it on, go 3 readings, I think. I don't think it's fair to just push something through when I offered the commission and director to come speak. So I think that would be good. Okay. With that, I'll take a motion.
I'll make that motion.
Is there a second? I'll second it. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed?
I'll oppose.
All right. All right, the second is a letter from Dallas Moore, Councilman Ward 3, requesting legislation stating Barberton City Council does not support the mayor's decision regarding the chair of the Parks Commission. Please see request. I believe Ms. Eisman recommended that the chair be removed from the commission due to not informing her of the allegations. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes. Okay, thank you. And quite frankly, the parks over the last year and a half have not been so greatly handled, in my opinion. So I decided to bring the evidence to support that opinion. We can go through this rather quickly if we want. First one is the Parks and Rec Program Guide. It was approved by the director and commission, from my understanding. Is that correct? How that went out, Ms. Miller?
Okay, I apologize. I assumed it was James' question.
No.
Go ahead.
The Parks and Rec Guide, was that approved by the Parks and Rec Commission and Director?
It is not I have no idea whether the commission had any hand in it, but they're responsible for the director and his staff. So, you know, the meeting that I had with, Mr. Moore and Mrs. Angeloff, they expressed surprise about the contents of the program.
Okay, thank you. Secondly, there were directives received from Lisa Miller, or by Lisa Miller for HR safety to approve POs. And when asking for POs, she was bombarded by a commission member, for lack of a better term, very inappropriately and rudely. They were asked to take 5 of their 6 staff members to a conference, and Ms. Eisman, I believe, recommended that 2 could go, or 1 could go, and then the commission voted to send 2.
I gave permission to send 1, and then the Parks Commission had a meeting and agreed that they wanted to send 3. And then I denied that purchase order for just 1. Mind you, this happened back in September. Recently, I did approve a purchase order. It came up again where you have to approve things. And I thought, wait a minute, I'd already approved this prior. And it was for, I wasn't sure for how many people it was for, so I asked Parks. They did send 2. Back in September, I did say 1. I had forgotten that I approved 2 people to go. Obviously, the Parks Commission did as well, but I did not go back and say, no, only 1 can go. That was, I believe, like January 15, January 18. So Don went and Kate.
Okay, thank you. And then also in September, we found they were having a jewelry fundraiser sale where they were not correctly collecting the merchandise. Is that my understanding? And had no way of auditing themselves for the valuables that they had?
That's correct, yes.
And is this allowed to be a fundraiser in the future?
It can be. Jeremy had reached out and got guidance on the proper format to do that, and we got a spreadsheet on how to track it and was gonna give assistance on how to do that. The finance department was not aware that this was going on and how the proceeds were how things were being donated, how are they being accounted for, what were we doing with the excess? None of that was being done, and simply these things were caught just by, the mayor's assistant had to approve all the flyers. So she saw some things on there, came to me, and that's how this came about.
Got it.
Discovering it that way.
Thank you. They were also hosting a Bible study, which is not legal per separation of church and state. There was a trunk or treat that was able to go off. They were taking, not donations, but sponsorships. In the packet that I have, it sounded like, Ms. Eisman, you were asking for clarification on what the sponsorships were going to. Is that correct?
That's correct. I was advised to ask the Parks Department how their sponsorship came about, because looking at the advertisement, they had sponsors listed, and we wanted to know, how are those sponsorships collected, announced? How do you send those out? I don't exactly remember what else we had to ask for other than a list of donations.
Right, so we came to find out that typically, let's use Mumfest for example. If you wanted to sponsor Mumfest, there would be a list of levels you could sponsor with, and your name would appear either on a shirt or be announced at the link, right? That's how it normally works. We were informed, you can correct me if I'm wrong, that rather they would solicit sponsors, let's say in January, and those sponsors would give checks, and then throughout the year, they would just say, any event was sponsored by any of the people who sponsored it. So there was no like, I'm gonna sponsor, the food truck at Mumfest, or I'm gonna sponsor trunk or treat. It was a carte blanche check that sponsored things throughout the year with no, my concern was there was no budget attached to it. Like, if X cost $1,000 and you wanted $1,000 sponsorship to cover the cost of X, then Susan Jones would be the sponsor of X. That wasn't how there's not that kind of transfer of value of what the cost of an event is relative to the sponsorship. And the reason why it came up at that moment was that they listed sponsors for trunk or treat. Well, I know that Emily participated in trunk or treat one year, same year I did, and there's no cost, right? The cost is us. Emily had a truck, I had a truck, we had our candy, we had our bags, we had whatever we had. And that was the same for the other people. So my question was, what is the cost to the sponsor? What are we collecting that money for? Because in my mind, and it was on a city lot, so there was no cost to rent. So my concern was, how are we allocating costs to the event for the sponsorship? Does that all make sense? Okay, and that's when we found out that it's just this global sponsorship, maybe in January, and you could sponsor a variety of things, which drew concerns from me because typically sponsorships are connected to a cost, right? You have, this is how much it costs, and you solicit a sponsor. In addition, I have in the past sponsored Mumfest. I didn't know there was an ability to sponsor for X number of dollars, a million other things, and maybe I was not spending my sponsorship wisely to just be at Mumfest. But I didn't know of those things. So those were the kind of questions that were being asked, and because we asked those questions, and rather, I don't believe I received an answer. I don't know if she did or Jeremy did. They just canceled the event.
Correct. There was no answer from the email other than Mr. Patterson saying that the event had been canceled just a couple days, or maybe even the same day that Ms. Eisman asked for the backup on this issue.
Yeah, for like, some of the sponsorship and like the jewelry that they've been doing, have they done that before in the past, do you know?
I have no idea.
They had done it, I believe, just one time. I know they had done it before.
Okay.
The finance department was not aware of that. And since, that's not proper accounting.
Well,
you know?
yeah, I
okay.
understand that, but I just want to know,
So now that
have
we're
they
aware
done-
with it,
but
we
they-
wanted to give them the right procedures.
Yeah.
But it had been done before, but I
okay.
believe just one time.
Okay. Sponsorships, is that been?
I have no knowledge of that.
So we don't know if that's been
Correct.
going on.
Right.
Okay.
Great. Next point, sorry, there's just a couple more. Mr. Shreve was notified on 9/19 that Don Patterson had set up his own Verizon account for a hotspot on behalf of the city, I'm assuming, in Parks and Rec. Are directors allowed to enter into contract for services like this?
No.
Okay, thank you. Point 10, the 2024 Labor Day Parade had been rerouted. Parks did not consult with Ms. Eisman or the police of this route. There were safety concerns that there were not enough cones for the closure because there were too many side streets. That I believe is going to be corrected, or was corrected for last year. Or
For this
for next
year,
year.
I said that for this coming year, for 2026.
Got it, okay.
Yes, that we would, since Worcester Road West is open, that we would go back to that route, correct?
Okay, so the Parks puts on the Labor Day Parade?
They do.
They do? Okay. And you were never consulted about changing routes or anything?
I was not given approval on, I did not give approval on that, no.
Okay, thank you. And then lastly are just some odd POs that have showed up in some investigation. There was $150 for truck detailing with a Maslin account. There was $120 for a jacket purchased in Canton, Ohio. And then the big one is we spend $1,800 in cleaning of the Active Adult Center per month, and that does not include the materials. It's my understanding that, well, first, do we own the Y Active Adult Center? Do we rent that space? What is that set up?
So when, after the high school was built, And we had, the community had goals, and one of them was to have a different active adult center, because it used to be in the first floor of the YCAM building, which is not particularly accessible. And so the YMCA and the city and the foundation entered into, I'm gonna use my word, an agreement to build a facility, and a portion of that would be the active adult center.
Okay, and do you know what year that was by chance?
I don't, not off the top of my head. Maybe,
Oh,
yeah.
six-ish?
We sold the hospital in 1996. The high school was, kids moved in fall of 2000, I believe. 2001 was the first graduating class, so it was sometime after that.
Okay, has the city ever handled the cleaning contract for that building as a whole?
So, some of you on council might be aware, I think everyone was probably here, maybe except for Mr. Stoll, Mrs. Miller, and Mr. Moore, Mr. Corbin. That was, so, we had a proportionate share of the cost of the YMCA. That was in the original agreement. I don't have that percentage off the top of my head, but we were responsible for proportionate share. That had never been changed in the original agreement. Well, it's my understanding that Mr. Patterson asked the commission to terminate, to hire his own cleaning folks for just the active adult center, rather than use the services that were hired by the YMCA. So what that did was we had to re-enter the agreement with the YMCA. And at that time, I had done cost analysis trying to figure it out, and we paid much more, because the Y was like, all right, well, we're gonna renegotiate everything, right? Like, here's what should have been, and we should have done this. And so our cost to the YMCA either was the same or maybe slightly higher. However, we absorbed $20,000, I think, in cleaning every year. So, you know, if their base price was, let's say, 20, and you look over time, it fluctuated, but maybe averaged about 20,000. We're paying the 20 plus, I don't know, 20. So we've doubled the cost of that.
Yep, I have that proof here if anyone wants to see it. Numbers are $15,000 on average more per year that we're paying for his professional service to come in personally. On that, I don't have anything else at the moment. Would anyone else like questions or comments? Mr. Stoll?
I guess just stepping back, like, what do we want to accomplish? Like, how do we want, clearly reform needs to happen here. We clearly have a problem. It seems like there's somebody operating without supervision, right?
Yeah.
Is how it appears to me. But what does reform look like, right? And so, like, I look at this, and I don't, you guys tell me, like, so if we bring, how do we ensure that when whatever happens next, if there's new people, that this doesn't happen again?
Mayor, would you like to answer that?
So, you know, there's a lot of things that have come to light, a lot of issues, some of them through the directives that the law director put together, not all of them, but some of them predated the current commission and the current employees. And I think there's some conversations that need to happen. I'd ask Mr. Moore to give me a month to look into this and make some changes. Spent the weekend putting together a performance improvement plan for the entire department. And you know, I would like to go that direction to kind of fix the problem and to work with all parties to get this up and moving in the right direction. It may not happen like that, right? There may be things that we have to do that may include termination and removal from boards and things like that. But I'm all for one to try to correct the problem and to move forward as best as possible.
Thank you. Ms. Harris?
I just have I have a point of order here. I appreciate your work. He has no authority to have an employee in the Parks Department on a improvement plan. And I wrote a memo about this and the obligations of commissions. Mr. Best received it. The only authority to discipline and manage the employees of the Parks Department rests with the Parks Commission. That's it. And number one. And number two, we now have an HR director who reports to a commission, right? If the Parks Commission had concerns about the performance of their employees, their obligation is to consult the Human Resource Department, which they have not. Legally, this is just a quagmire of potential issues. And it starts with the commission's obligations. All I can tell you is, the Planning Commission does not have these issues at all. I tend to think some of this has to do with proximity, right? The Planning Department has always been in the city building with all of the other people in the city building and had the ability to ask other people how to handle issues. I don't know, that's all I can think of. There's absolutely no reason why either the planning director or Parks Director or Parks Commission couldn't approach myself, the HR director, or any other supportive person, right? There's no reason why perhaps the Parks Director couldn't contact the Planning Director and ask, hey, how do you manage through these kind of things? Why the Planning or Parks Commission didn't contact members from the Planning Commission and say, you guys have done this successfully for 40 years. How do we handle this? Nothing. There's just, I don't know if it's proximity, location, that they just do not want to take advantage of the expertise and professional advice that can be given from the city on this part. I can't explain it any other way.
Thank you. Mr. Harris?
Ms. Moore, did you say the truck detail was done in Maslin?
It had a Maslin address. I don't think there's any confirmation of where it was done.
Have we done any checking to see what this was all about? I mean, where's the accountability for the funds that you collect from the jewelry sales, everything else that you've mentioned?
Right, so
The
let's
donations.
let's just use this $150 thing. There would be absolutely no one who would do anything about that unless the department or the commission itself knew not to do that, right? Let's pretend I wanted to do that. I would have one of my staff members enter a purchase order, I would approve the purchase order and send it to the finance department, they would process, it's $150. There's no one other than knowing themselves that car detailing is an unusual cost for a parks department.
I guess this is the police experience that comes out. But truck detail, was it a personal vehicle? Was it a government vehicle?
Well,
Do we know?
I don't know that answer off the top of my head, but let's assume it was a parks vehicle,
I don't
right?
like to assume.
I know you don't like to do that, but I'm going to for the sake of this discussion. Let's assume that it was. There is no catch for that internally. There's no process. For sure, it would be impossible for Jeremy to review every $100 purchase order. That would
Correct.
just not happen. However, no, I just chuckle a little bit about the code. Like, if you tell me the distribution collection folks, out in sub-zero weather, jumping into holes, working on frozen lines needed a code, that would make a difference to me, right? The parks employees for most part work inside, as my employees do. We don't buy coats. So, but again, that's not a cost that would ever be caught either by the commission or the finance department. That's leadership.
With that, when that was discovered, we do have an internal policy. We do have a local vendor policy. All managers were trained on that. So once we became aware of it, that is in place. So I just wanted to let council know that.
Thank you. Ms. Stewart?
I guess first question, can you tell us more about the local vendor policy, Jamie?
She doesn't want to.
I'm familiar with it. I don't know.
It's a preference, right? It's a preference. Of course, we try to, I can just speak to printing, for example. Things that are printed, we try to give that business locally, right?
It is what it sounds like.
Yep.
I'm very, yeah.
Buying cars, we typically buy them from, Ganley Ford or Magic City Motors. You try to keep it. Obviously, Ganley's in Norton, but it's close,
Okay. So I think my question or discussion is towards what Mr. Stoll was asking. So we have on last year's, ballot, a charter amendment that would have taken the commission and made it advisory. And then the Parks Department, the director would fall under civil service.
I think-
No, I'm sorry.
It would report to the mayor. To be clear, during Charter Commission, and Mr. Moore knows this, I could not find another city that operates in this manner. All cities that have parks commissions, specifically parks commissions, are advisory in nature. And I've explained this several times, I'm happy to do it again. Civil service is a separate commission, right? And it's created by Ohio law, and then charters can tweak those things, right? So we have a charter provision, and we have, our rules are adopted by council, they don't go under the state of Ohio. And the purpose of civil service is so you don't have political patronage in your, I'm gonna use my word, rank and file positions in the city, right? So the laborers, the police officers, the firefighters, the plant operators, right? They fall under civil service. So that's the purpose of civil service, is to not have patronage jobs. The purpose of the planning commission, which is also separate, the purpose of it is to remove political pressure for decisions that are exceptionally long-term, how things are zoned, how conditional use permits are issued, all of those things. You're trying to make that as smooth as possible and void of influence, right? That's the purpose of a separate planning commission. I cannot think of what would be the purpose of having a parks department run by an independent commission. There's no politics in parks, right? You either have swing sets or you have splash pads. You either have softball leagues or you have soccer leagues. I mean, those aren't political in nature. And I have, again, did a lot of research. I can't find this anywhere.
Okay, so if that would have passed, that commission could have become advisory, and I actually think Todd was even saying the parks could fall under him.
Correct.
Because of so much that the service
Correct.
department does for them.
Correct.
It's coming back to me now, thank you.
Yes.
So one option would be to get this back on a ballot for November, correct? To get rid of the commission. In the meantime, we could replace all the members of the commission because we can't get rid of the commission, correct?
Correct.
Okay, so we could replace the members, we can get it back on the ballot for the people. But then I think we have two different issues because we still have, the first thing is the lack of confidence in the director.
Correct.
It's a different.
Look, yes, the first one is a no confidence vote in the commission for keeping Mr. Patterson as director.
Yeah.
I think had the commission done their due diligence after the arrest warrant stuff was handled, and they did a little bit of digging and knew the laws and the rules, they would probably have easily been able to say this is not valid leadership that we want. And therefore, I don't think either party currently is valid leadership for our city.
I think what would be most helpful is if the commission consulted with the Human Resource Department to find out how to handle things going forward. I will say, Mrs. Angeloff's presence on the Parks Commission has been very emphatic on having contracts reviewed by the law department. So for the first time, I have now started looking at their contracts. I've never had. So that I'm very appreciative of her doing that.
And I will say, when Mr. Moore and I attended the last meeting, they held everything in committee because it had not been taken to your office yet, so they are following that rule.
I did not ask for that. Mrs. Angeloff did that on her own, probably because she sat in my office for so long and realized.
Yeah.
Yep. Mr. Stoll?
I think that's that's what I want to see, right? I want to see that, like, working with the other departments, and that would be my concern, like, where we end up next. But whoever, like, if we brought in all new people, how do we make sure that they're working with whoever they need to, right? Like, I just don't understand. Yeah, this is an unfortunate situation. We should probably, that issue probably should have passed, because you've got, what, a commission that meets, what, once a month? Supervising somebody who probably wasn't ready for this position from a leadership. There's something there. There's something, at a minimum, right? Needed some guidance.
We need, right.
At a minimum, right? And
Okay.
so, I'm just trying to figure out, like, practically,
Sure.
what do we do in the meantime?
I'll take that one. I think that you find members in the community who are going to hold people accountable and have the time. I think you need a real leadership on this commission, someone with some managerial experience who understands what it's like to have an employee, and I'm not sure that we necessarily have that at this moment. Anyone else from council?
You have some questions in the
Yeah.
audience.
Step up to the mic.
Yeah, please step up.
Name and address, please. David wants to go first.
Like, police officer and then what's us for this one?
Baby, I Nick 249 Nelson. Last year, the law department issued an edict of 12 points requiring the Parks Commission to follow. How many of those 12 points have been violated? Because I do remember one of those points was they were to take down their own separate website, yet that website has been updated in the last couple of weeks. So if one has been violated, how many of the other 12 edicts have been as well?
I really hate that word, edict. It's called advice, legal advice. I will say that it was brought to my attention that that webpage was still up. I sent an email to them saying it had, let me be very clear, this is not about I want to control people's web pages. Mayor had vendor in, right, would we have that vendor? Yeah, Mayor had a vendor in, spoke to several of us, probably about 10 or 12 of us, to discuss the new federal requirements, federal law on how government websites have to operate. I promise you, it is absolutely not anything I thought I'd ever hear. It dictates font, the type of font you can use on a government website. It dictates text to talk or talk to I don't know. These are things I don't know about. It's computers, not my area. But because it has to do with ADA compliance, right? So there are machines that people who who have different abilities are able to use that website and hear it or have it read to them or a variety of different things. I'm not really 100% sure. But we have to have a new website created that's compliant with this federal law. Well, it costs a good amount of money to do that, and we can't have two websites that are essentially one department. We wouldn't have a street department website, we wouldn't have a planning commission website. We have one website that will be compliant, and it's gonna cost us some money to get it compliant, but we wanna do that, we wanna serve our community. So, in addition to not knowing what is on their website, it's also not gonna be compliant. So, I did just send that email out, and it's my understanding, I saw an email from someone at the Parks Department to the mayor's staff saying, how do we migrate this over? So, although it was not complied with, they complied with it this week or last Thursday or something.
Can I ask about the web? My understanding with the website was, this is what I was told, I happened to accidentally got in this conversation with the parks. They brought up and said they thought the website was closed, and it was an accident that it was updated. That's what I was told.
Yeah, I have
That's
to
what
say,
I-
Mr.
yeah.
Corcoran, I don't care.
Yeah,
You were
but-
told not to do it,
but
and then you
I-
did it anyway.
But it was an accident
so-
that they didn't mean to, so that's all I'm waiting.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
who all knew what those 12 points were over in the Parks and Rec Department?
I can tell you I communicated that, I think, to the commission, and Deanna and Nina for sure. I'm sorry, Mr. Nor and Mrs. Angela for sure. I can't tell you, I cannot recollect if I sent it to Mr. Patterson. Well, he might not have been there, or Ms. Simmons. But they were aware of them because they were executing them, right? Like the purchase orders were coming to Jamie. Ashley in the mayor's office was approving their media or, any sort of announcements or things, yes. So they were the staff was actively aware of them because they were complying with them to the extent that they were complying.
Okay, so the president and the secretary of the commission knew of these 12 points that you've been stated on them, correct?
Yes.
Have either of them come to you or HR that they have been violated by anyone under their?
I have not spoken or had an email conversation with any member of the Parks Commission.
Thank you.
Quick
Ms. Beck?
question. Those 12 pieces of advice, you don't really have the authority to make them do them, no, because it's run by the commission? Is that,
Okay.
that's kind of how I'm understanding it, right?
Okay, so I, as the law director for the city corporate, right, they are not a separate political subdivision. So, in Ohio law, you either part of a political subdivision or you're a separate political subdivision, and that just means a separate form of government. So, for example, there's Summit County, the collective, the county of Summit, right? Eileen Shapiro, Elliot Kolkovich, that's the county of Summit. In addition, we have a Summit County Metro Parks, separate political subdivision. If you want to sue the Summit County Metro Parks, you have to sue them. You can't sue Summit County about what's happening at the Metro Parks. They're a separate political subdivision. The Parks Department is not a separate political subdivision. If someone sues the Parks Department, they're suing the city of Barberton. So I'm the attorney for the corporate city. I'm the attorney for all of you. I'm the attorney for the mayor. I'm the attorney for the employees. I'm the attorney for the commission members. I represent everyone. So I do have the authority to tell them not to do that as their lawyer.
And the reason I asked it doesn't mean that I'm telling you you can't
No,
tell
I
me to
know
do
that.
things. Because it seems to me that we can, vote on these things, but there's still a lot of work to make sure the ship doesn't veer off course again. And, if a lot of the power resides in the commission that keeps kind of going this way without a lot of power for us to correct them. In the end, there's more work than just this to be done on our part.
I don't disagree. I can just tell you that we know how to do this, and we know how to do
You
it
do,
properly
yeah,
and well.
yeah.
By we, I mean the city. Again, the planning commission has not had these issues. They have run properly for at least 30 years that I know of. There's been, of course, there's some glitches at some point, right? But nothing of this magnitude. And that's why it's a little weird to me that they can't function, and the only thing I can attribute to is lack of proximity.
Or leadership. You have a support?
Okay, there's what, 5 on the Parks?
Correct.
Commission? How long have, because I think Angela is fairly new. How long have the others been on the Parks?
I don't know. I can tell you that both Mr. Nor and Mrs. Angeloff are 30-some-plus-year employees of the city.
But how long have they been on the Parks?
I don't know, but they definitely know the procedures in the city.
Yeah.
And to that point, if you want to defend Ms. Angela for her time, Liz, I was in the gallery when she stood up here and begged for the charter to not be, or the charter amendment to be on there because she was going to get it fixed. I don't believe it has been fixed, and it has worsened since she stood up here in, I think, October. Name and
So-
address, please.
Brad Garrett, 559 Brighton Circle, Barberton. So not a separate subdivision, so if they're not taking your legal advice, at what point does liability shift onto them? Doesn't.
Well, I can speak to you about police officers, right? There's a thing called a PLA, a police legal advisor. And if an officer comes to me and says, I want to charge Brad Garrett with a crime, and I believe that they have the evidence to do so, and I authorize the charge, those officers are no longer liable if that charge is incorrect. Because they received legal advice, acted accordingly, and went forward, right? So they have immunity at that point.
You act as a shield in that sense.
For sure.
But if they choose not to follow that advice,
They might be in trouble.
so we could in a sense say that they've now accepted liability if they go against your advice as legal counsel.
I don't know, I would have to go through all of the points. Obviously, the website was not followed, however, it has been followed now. I do not know what the Parks Department does on a daily basis, so I don't know. I know that they did send purchase orders to Jamie. I know that they are continuing to send their media, is the only word I can think of, to Ashley and the mayor's office to be approved and posted or approved and distributed. I know that that's happening.
We'd be in quite a predicament if we're accepting liability for a body that won't follow directions from the law director. So I guess the only other question would be then, what are the other courses of action that could be taken for removal or remedy of that situation? as prescribed by our charter?
Well, the only removal of a commission member can be done by a mayor with approval of council. And then, other than that would be the charter amendment that was put forth.
Not to put you in the hot seat, Mr. Mayor, but is it just because we probably don't have the people that would be necessary to fill those positions?
No.
Ms. Garrett?
Follow up to Brad's question though, I know you're talking about them following these 12 items, but was there any recourse for them not following HR's recommendation for what needed to happen? No, but they just don't have to, just the recommendation.
Go ahead.
So, I could just, my role is to give the recommendation, which I did. I didn't hear any conversation, I wasn't invited to any executive session. It should be known that I was following policy. The same policy has been followed for recent directors or managers as recently as last year. So, also to clarify, when Lisa gave those directives, as Mr. Garrett was talking about protecting, she gave those directives in order to protect the rest of the city because so things wouldn't keep happening. So those were to protect the city. It wasn't like we want to take responsibility away from them. No, we wanted to make sure. And quite frankly, in a short amount of time, with Ashley, just Ashley and myself, just being here and knowing, going through, caught these things, right? And so, yes.
Tiffany Mead, 307 6th Street Northwest. Last week on Monday, or no, excuse me, on Tuesday, I received an 8-page packet from the Parks Department when I requested to use, or well, just notified them I was using a plot of land. I sent back questions to them because there was no resident option, and I discussed this with the mayor on Friday in a meeting with him. They told me that I should label myself as a nonprofit. No, I'm not gonna lie. This is one of the questions I asked them. I'm not a nonprofit or a business. Is there a fee for a resident? Nothing is listed for a resident. You're correct. A resident is not listed. It would be determined that you could have the nonprofit status since you are not a business or an organization. And then they sent me a form, which I sent to Mrs. Miller, and legal has never seen it.
I did request the form, and I got it from her, but I did request it from the Parks Department so that I can review the form and make corrections.
Any other questions?
Mrs. Miller, is there, with Mr. Nora not notifying Ms. Iceman within the 5 days of the charges against Mr. Patterson, is there any kind of legal ramifications? Because it is in the employee handbook or somewhere, is there anything with that? Or is there any disciplinary measures for not following that?
You would be disciplining a commission member. The only thing that can be done to a commission member is removal.
Okay, well then, I'm gonna take a leap, Mr. Mayor. I'm sorry, I very much appreciate wanting to go the high road and try and work through this, but this is some serious stuff. We're not talking about a little mistake here. You know, we're talking about some very serious legal allegations that charges have been dismissed, but have been dismissed without prejudice. And, you know, and these are public records. I will not go into detail. People can look them up for themselves. But, you know, I think this is putting the city in a very precarious position. And the people that had, well, I will say the person who had the responsibility that could have saved us from having to sit here and discuss this just sat back and twiddled their thumbs. you know, would I like the city to be sunshine and roses? Absolutely. I love the city. I want things to go smoothly. But you know what? I have been racking my brain ever since I heard about this. And, you know, we have a city to protect. And we can't, you know, sometimes you gotta come down hard. You know, you just do. Do I want to? Absolutely not. Do I want things to be this way? No. But we have a chairman of our Parks Commission who ignored our HR director. Ignored her. Lied to her. And can get away with it unless you tell him no. Flat out lie. How do we say to the citizens of this city that that is okay? How do we do that? How do we look our constituents in the eye when they say, how did you let this happen? Because they look to us. We're the ones that are gonna get yelled at for it. We're the ones that are gonna get called an effing joke. Excuse my language, even that. Because that's what happens when stuff like this goes on. You know, we have to take accountability. And accountability for the director of the commission not doing what he should have done from the very beginning. As soon as he knew what happened, it should be, sorry, but this is too serious and you did not take it as seriously as you should have. That should have been an immediate phone call to Ms. Eichman. Immediately. This isn't, you know, oh, somebody put a scratch on a front loader or somebody forgot to unlock a bathroom. These are serious allegations. And they were not handled in the way that they should have been. And it makes everyone else in this city look like we don't care. I'm sorry, there is not anything you can say, and I respect you, I do, but there is not anything that you can say except that you will tell Dan Noor that his services are no longer needed. That will make this right. And I'm sorry for Don Patterson to no longer be the director of the Parks and Rec Department. That is the only way for the citizens of this city to have faith in us, that when it comes to the hard decisions, that the mayor and the directors of this city and its council are gonna make the tough choices. But that we are going to put the citizens first and not push things under the rug. And if it ticks people off, I'm sorry, but I'm not, excuse my language, I'm not gonna pussyfoot around. This is what has to be done. You know, Ms. Eichman is being made to look like she's not doing her job. Mrs. Miller has to stand up here and explain 5 million different laws and what she advised the Parks Commission to do, and it's simple common sense. And yet she has to keep advising a group of 5 adults on how to handle things. And it's absolutely ridiculous.
I will take the necessary actions to better the Parks Department and the commission. So give me a little bit of time here and I will. I should have said this before with the performance improvement plan. I did not run this by the HR director or the law department. I acknowledge how you feel and hear what you guys are saying. And there's a lot more that I'm not going to get into right now. But I want to save the parks. I want to save the programs that the parks do, the integrity of the parks, and I don't want them defunded. That's been a threat. Defund the whole damn department. Defund the parks director's salary position. What kind of message are we sending? Let me take care of this. Let me address this, right? But what kind of message are we sending? And I realize you can throw that right back at me. What kind of message are we sending right now by keeping these two individuals? Or the whole commission, because that's been the threat, even though there's a couple appointments by the schools. But what kind of person, who's gonna apply for the parks director if Don's not there and all of this is going on, right? Haven't been very good in finding an engineer or a CBO either. And that's the word on the street. So I appreciate everyone's comments. I understand your comments. I don't want the department defunded. I don't want the parks director's position defunded. I want programs. I want the parks to thrive. So I will take appropriate action.
Real quick, just a point on the defunding the parks. Yes, I did make that comment. No, it was not a threat. I simply said that as the legislative branch, that is the only option that we will have left if the mayor does not do his due diligence in replacing the commission. Thank you. Mr. Sol?
Yeah, Mr. Moore, you said you were going to do 3 readings on the second piece of legislation.
Yeah.
Mr. Mayor, is that enough time for you? You asked for more time.
You know, I've stood up here numerous times for the past year and a half talking about, hey, give us a little bit of grace and, you know, give us some time. And I realize that that may fall on deaf ears at times. There's been a huge increase in public records requests. There's been a huge, you know, I've got the budget, I've got the public records requests, I've got a lot of things that we all do, right? Had a meeting with staff last year when we lost our CBO and our engineer. We all have to pick up the slack. It was the middle of construction season. There's a lot of work to do. And we don't want things to fall through the cracks. Obviously things are falling through the cracks. We're trying to stop that. I will do my best with 3 readings to kind of right the ship. I think there's a lot of things that need to be improved. Leadership, communication, accountability, all of those things need to be taken care of. Some of them are on the right track. Some of them are not. I heard the same story about the website, that everyone thought it was down, and then someone mistakenly started entering information. I don't know if that's true or not, that's what I've heard. So, back to your original question, 6 weeks, right? That should be plenty of time.
Any other comments, questions?
Can I just make?
Mr. Schwarber?
You know, some of this stuff that they're talking about, like jewelry's been posted, you know, Bible study and sponsorships. I could see that as being a legitimate mistake. You know, they're trying doing a fundraiser. You know, I've been around people, you know, in my organization, we've got other people doing things that are not fiscally responsible, but their intentions were good. That doesn't bother me, to be honest, but what does bother me is where we were spending money on detailing, car detail, even though it was $152, and then the $1,800, you know, cleaning. That stuff concerns me, but if now all that stuff is going through getting approved in the proper channels, that should alleviate some of those problems. It seems like little by little they are changing, but so I do like to give a little more time to hopefully they can really turn it around.
Mr. Harris?
Real quick question, Ms. Miller and Ms. Eisen. Was there a PO for that truck detail?
Yeah, there was a purchase order.
There was a purchase order?
Yes.
And the jacket also?
Yes.
And those were okay?
So they were okayed by the director.
So that tells me he okayed his own PO.
Yeah, but let me be clear, that happens, that I approve our purchase orders, the chief approves his purchase orders, no?
I do,
Chief?
but that mine go to the safety.
Yeah, okay.
Let me explain that, okay? I approve my department purchase orders. All directors do. Every director does. It's just that's your responsibility to know what is right and what is not, what, you know, and, so that was after the fact. These are ones I saw from prior.
Okay. Well, I'll get the POs then, and I'll do my research on the companies that money was spent at.
But as I said, once it was discovered, we did do that. That's why we did the local event, just on that.
Thank you. Anything else for anyone? My last comment is that, knowing everything in the public record, knowing that there was a minor involved, I will sit up here and full chest say my 2 kids will not participate in anything Parks and Rec related while this director is serving, and I cannot comfortably tell the community to attend Parks and Rec events while this director is serving. And if there's no more comments, we'll take a motion to call us out of committee.
Make that motion.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you. And we'll go ahead and vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
No.
Okay.
Oh, taking it out of committee.
It's just.
3
Any opposed? Reading for it, or-
So, well, we're doing, is this just taking this
It
to
will
3
go
readings?
3 readings, yeah.
Okay, I approve.
Okay, thank you.
Sorry.
Yep, fine. There are no pending legislation or appointments. Any more miscellaneous discussion?
Excuse me, Mr. Moore, I just have a question.
Yep, sure.
Did the first legislation request, did you guys put that on consent or no?
No, 3 readings for both.
Okay,
Thank
we're
you.
good, 3 readings, thank you.
Sorry, Lori. couldn't
Oh,
hear
no,
you.
that's okay, thank you.
Ms. Mead, did you have miscellaneous discussion? Or did you clear it up? Okay, thank you. All right, with that, I will take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
All right, second?
I'll second.
And we are dismissed at 7:02. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Moore. Next up, public welfare and safety.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is February 23rd, 2026, 7:02 p.m. I'd like to bring the Public Welfare, Safety, and Public Relations Committee to order. We're in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair, Mr. Moore as co-chair, Mr. Hart, and all other council members as noted on my sheet, along with the guest. We have one request for legislation, a letter from Jamie Eisman, Human Resource Director, requesting legislation to update Chapter 674, emergency boarding requested. You guys have all seen the request, correct? Yep. It's, Chapter 674 is the criminal activity nuisance section. And we just want to add, or they just want to add, or commercial in the definition aspect of it. Any questions? Yes, sir.
Is there something that made us discover that it was missing?
Ms. Eisman?
I would say, yes, but in order to just be able to have the enforcement that we need to, just to keep things orderly.
Any other questions? I'll make a motion to put this on consent agenda. Can I get a second?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Consent agenda, please. We have no other requests for legislation. No pending. Do we have anything for miscellaneous discussion? Any other council members? Gallery? Can I get a motion to adjourn, please?
So moved.
Second, please.
I'll second.
We are adjourned at 7:05 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. Harris. Rules, marketing, and development. Skip Hart.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. At this time, I'd like to bring the Rules, Marketing, Development, and Information Technologies Committee to order. It is Monday, February 23rd, 2026. It is 7:06 p.m. We are in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, including myself as chair. Mrs. Beck is co-chair, and Mrs. Hager. All the council members and others as noted on the sheet. We have no requests for legislation at this time. We have no pending legislation at this time. And we have 2 topics for miscellaneous. First one. I know everyone has received a copy of the council rules. Hopefully, if you didn't, you printed off some from last year. I believe you already sent it over to us after we made quite a few changes last year. So I'm just encouraging everybody to make sure you're very familiar with these. If you have any questions, please call myself or President Griffin. Starting with like page 7, it does speak to the general order of the council, how to address council, the proper decorum, the professional manner in which we treat one another, as we treat the administration, we treat our public. So last week was just a mistake, and I just want to make sure that we're cautious to not have it happen again. Mrs. Miller?
This is not my committee, may I speak?
Yes, ma'am, you may.
I am truly sorry. I had no idea I was not allowed to talk. It will not happen again, interrupting one of our citizens. I'm very sorry.
Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Does anybody else want to speak? Okay, thank you for doing that, Mrs. Miller. The other topic that we wanted to discuss, as Chris, I need you on my committee because technology, you're our guy. So as we're learning, this room is technologically kind of locked down because of the courts, is a good way to put it, Chris? So that's giving us some of the issues that we've been having. So we just want to spell out, if we're having a technical issue, a couple of the things that we will try on our behalf. And then we will obviously always have the recording that we can then upload online. So we kind of do this now, President Griffin and Lori, where
Yes.
you say we're live and we can start the meeting. So I think continuing to do that's good. Maybe like a verification that's working. I've gone live one time in my life when it's more challenging than you think. I don't know if there's a way to know that it's working.
Unless somebody has it up on their phone, I don't know of a way. In having our previous resident expert with us tonight, we found out that in removing equipment, this is such a public space, somebody's messed with our stuff. Basically, your microphones here aren't coming through. They're coming through these 2 little things up on the president's desk. So
Okay.
speak loudly, everybody. Right now, we're gonna troubleshoot it later. And YouTube, which is a third-party vendor, which we have no control over, went down.
Yep.
But no, didn't tell anybody. So
Was that the first
that was Monday
time?
night. That's when Keith was here and me on the phone.
The second time.
The first
Last
time,
Tuesday.
they discovered, because we had those issues for several years, but with the backup that we've got, we had the audio, like Ms. Gerhardt said, but we found out that they were doing a systems update set to go off at 6 o'clock because everybody leaves at 4:30. So IT has since moved that systems update to start at like midnight or some obscure hour of the time. That we also think could have had something to do with our audio not matching up. Luckily, I've got, one of the IT employees is 1 dot away on my phone. And like the week I was here, and I do apologize for missing last week, dog, sofa, long story. It was all bad. immediately when I realized what was going on, because we get all kinds of fun comments, I told Mr. Greer, and then the minute, I didn't want to interrupt the conversation that was happening. I wanted, because that was constructive conversation. So the minute Mr. Harris's meeting was over with, I said, stop, I need to reboot, I need to do this. In the meantime, I told him, since we have our cell phone rule, I'm gonna be on my cell phone, I need to text IT. So we had everything that we could possibly do. The rebooting did it, because it was after the update finished updating. So it connected back again and off we went. But we're gonna figure out what they've done with pulling some of the court equipment out, and basically too, this is a computer that a half a dozen people sit at. Oh, what's this dot do? We think that may have had something to do with it too, we don't know. And I'm not gonna point any fingers, but those were the causes of the issues. And like I said, rebooting, timing, whatever happens in the background, I'm not an IT pro. I'll type anything you want. I can make Excel sing if you want me to, but I cannot figure out, you know, I'm not an internet person either. So that's basically what happened. We have checks and balances in place, and there will be, I'm gonna be talking to Mr. Incravati tomorrow morning and see when they pulled this out, what happened. And maybe he's the Smithsonian version of the soundboard, knows how to run this thing.
Okay.
But that's kind of a synopsis,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah, and I appreciate you sharing that. I truly am just looking for like the path forward.
Path forward, if it's a third-party vendor, we can't do anything about the YouTube thing. But we will always, because that, I'm old school enough that we will have a backup.
Yeah, with your recorder and then the ability to upload it. So I think in that particular instance, we would have just maybe paused, see if we could have rebooted,
Yeah.
started up again, so.
Like I
think
said, that's what I wanted to do, but there was a very constructive conversation happening. Interrupting it would have broke the mood, for lack of a better word, and I thought that plus the backup was more important than stopping it for a technical issue, and then everybody loses their train of thought. But, you know, once the momentum was going, let it come to its conclusion, and then we rebooted. That's why we waited.
Lori, can we have the backup running all the time? How much would that?
Backup is running all the
Oh,
time.
it's running all the time.
I start the
Okay.
recorder before you, usually like 5 minutes
Okay,
before you
yeah.
bring it up. I never turn it off unless we go into executive
Okay.
session. And then I take it out with me. But then when just to give everybody a chance to know, I take that recorder down and I plug it into my computer downstairs. We have a program where I load the audio up into it, and then I separate out. So from the time Mr. Griffin says, Ms. Gerhardt, that's the beginning. And then I let it go till he says, thank you, Ms. Gerhardt, and that's the end. And that's separated off, and it's labeled rules 223-26. Then I'll do safety, and I do each committee separate. I edit out the whole thing. When he brings the actual meeting, the legislative or committee of the whole to order, that's another recording. I separate out all the recordings for the committees, because your original copy of the agenda plus the recording that I have is like the full record. I have the paper document. That's why I make copies and give you guys all yours back. That plus your recording, which is held on our server. That goes and it is backed up on a server. I don't have that. I can get to it, but it's not where it's at. It's all backed up to the server. And then I wipe the recorder out and we do it again.
Start it all over again.
Yep, but that's how it's done. I separate the recordings, label them, send them on. You know, if we do a public hearing for planning, I'll make sure Stacy gets it, or I'll copy it over on the shared drive into the planning, and I tell them, hey, I put it in here, and then they get it and go on about their business with
They
it.
can do everything. Okay. Yeah, so I think that was really it, just making sure we have a pre-meeting verification confirm on record. If we start to have a failure, notifying the council president, and then it would be on him if he stops it or not, the meeting to correct it, but we do have that backup recording. What were any other thoughts or ideas or things that we needed to have?
So I haven't heard back from IT yet, so I asked them, you asked them to join us, and they said they couldn't make it.
Yeah.
But they said that they were gonna try to come up with maybe some creative solutions to help us, and
Okay.
they must not try to change it.
Yeah. I even wondered if it would be challenging to like either put another camera or run into that one with like a cord to that desk, so then like they don't touch Lori's computer,
Well,
and the
now-
clerks get one side and we get one side.
Well, now, what is happening is, I'm signing in under my own sign-on. It's staying on my sign-on. Hopefully that means that other departments won't have, but other people use that. I mean,
Yeah.
it because of that. But, we have that, and IT is going to go through and make up screenshots and the step-by-step, so that if Shauna or Hannah or whoever, if something happens, I mean, first time in 5 or 6 years I called sick, right? So if that happens, there is a how-to with pictures on how to do everything and bring it up.
Awesome.
So
Yeah.
Keith and I are working on that.
Yes, thank you for doing all that. Any other thoughts from any council members, even if you're not in this room?
So Ms. Gerhart, so if the audio goes down, as long as we have it manually, we don't never have to stop the meeting or anything. Am I correct? Mr. Miller?
I apologize, if you have what? You don't have to
If
stop the meeting?
the audio is going, we never have to stop the meeting, as long as she's got it backed up.
Well, you could certainly make that rule,
Okay.
but this is nowhere near anything I know anything about.
Thank you.
Right. Thank
Right
you.
there with you.
But,
However, we do employ people who do know.
Yes, we
Right.
do.
And I think that your expectations should be made very clear to them, so they know how to create a system and a backup that will produce the result you desire.
right. Because you would have to say, how long would you be down? How long, you don't know how long the system would be down,
Well, but
you know?
in Mrs. Miller's email to everybody here
Mhm.
on February 10th, next to last sentence. Further, once anyone receives notice that either the audio, video, or both are not being broadcast, the meeting should stop and equipment examined. You are so advised. So that's what we're talking through.
Right, I know, but,
Putting a proper rule in place.
yeah.
Well, the issue though is that if we receive notice that that's happening, right,
Mhm.
that you could make a rule that we will just audio record it and we'll post it later.
Yeah.
But what you're gonna have to come to terms with is that the citizens who expect to watch council aren't gonna get that. So if you're willing to accept that, then you can make the rule that you're proposing. If you're not willing to accept that, then you need to come up with the solution that I'm sure people who know how to solve these problems can do it, and that would not be me.
I like a rule that we have a reasonable amount of time, like a 5 to 10 minute window where we can reboot. If rebooting is not correct, then we default to the recorded,
For
it will
sure.
be uploaded later.
For sure, because in the situation that happened, right, she couldn't fix it right then,
Right.
but she rebooted it and it fixed it. So what should have happened in retrospect is that she stop it, reboot it, and then it would have been kept going. But I also understand her concern about, it seems kind of not the greatest thing to interrupt a legislative body while they're deliberating.
Sure. Thank you. Mr. Garrett?
Can I make a suggestion? Just,
Yes, sir.
seems like we've been fighting this for like 10 years. Okay? We had an old analog system, it was a cassette system. I believe that that's not been upgraded. But so we got upgraded to a newer system, and it was supposed to be funded through the courts because this is technically the court system, so the courtroom, but it's also council chambers. why don't we have a contingency plan when that goes down, if we want to maintain a video and audio that might not live stream, all you gotta do is keep a GoPro set aside with a mic system, set it up, you click a button, boom, you got, I don't know, 5 hours of recording, and she can upload that all the same to YouTube, it just won't be live. It's not gonna solve a YouTube, the website being down or a DNS server issue, but it will certainly give you the exact same experience, maybe 2 hours after the fact.
Are you volunteering?
Yes, but the trouble is when we volunteered, no, I'll tell you. So the problem is that when we volunteered to do this, we weren't able to do it. Justin and I volunteered to do it years ago. Years ago, Justin live streamed this, I mean, shoot, for years we came in here and we live streamed it just so that people could see before any of this was even fitted. But the legal requirements and how the city has to do it, that's Mrs. Miller's, versus the convenience of being able to watch it live stream are two different things. But we were told, at least at that point in time, sit back, the equipment's on the way. Now we're still having problems apparently. But that's partially because we're relying on YouTube. Just have a backup. And can council put that in place?
What I would like is for council to deliberate and decide what they want, and once they do that, then you can move to the step 2.
If council can legally put that in place, have a little Pelican case set aside that's got everything you need for an emergency. It's really simple. Set it up on a tripod, hit the button, run.
We have a tripod, just saying.
There you go.
Thank you, Mr. Garrett.
Halfway there.
Mrs. Bell.
A little bit of what I was gonna say also, we can't legislate out technical problems here, at all. We do owe them audio, but we don't owe live because we can't get around technical difficulties. We already have an audio backup, GoPro camera, cool. Like, I think we're making this way more bigger than it needs to be and talking about it way more than we need to. Yes, we need to stop the meeting when we know that people cannot see us. Boom, done. Yes, more than one person should know the password at a time in case Lori can't be here and click the audio or, know the password. Like, we're spending almost a half an hour on this. We can't outsmart technical things that want to go bad. Yes, of course, stop the meeting. If we can fix the technical difficulty, perfect, done, we're back on. If we can't in a timely manner, we have audio backup. We're not giving them that instant gratification at home. I know a lot of people watch, and I appreciate that a lot of people watch. They're staying up to date on what's going on. But sometimes, and we cannot promise them that instant gratification. So, yes, let's do some backup things, but I think this is really, I think it's all common sense, honest to God.
Well, all I want is for you to deliberate, which you have to do in public,
Yeah.
right? So if you have to take a long time to do it, and come up with what your expectations are and what you desire. So if those are the 3 things that you set forth that the council all agrees with, then that's the rule. But that is my point, that you have to have something in place for your expectations, so when things go sideways, you just can't just keep hoping that they might not, and so whatever your expectations are, that you might not have it live, that you might just audio record it, all those things, just make a rule so that everyone knows the expectations, both internally and externally.
Thank you. And that's why we're talking about this. We
Thank
never
you.
talked about this before. We don't have the rules in place. And currently, Rule 108, streaming and archiving of meetings, all regular and special meetings of city council shall be live streamed to ensure public access and transparency. So we're stating we're going to. So that's why we're just talking through. Let's just have these simple steps in place. We all agree upon them. They're written down. We move on. Obviously, if YouTube is down, there's nothing we can do to bring YouTube back up. So, but stating we tried, moving on, I think is a fair thing to talk about. So, Mr. Harris?
I like the 5-minute break, try and reboot, whatever, and if not,
Listen.
I'll record it and continue on.
Yes.
I mean, we're not getting anything done sitting here. It's just beating a dead horse.
Well, thank you for your dead horse analogy. We heard it last week too. If anybody wants to continue this horse, we can. Otherwise, I'll just put the rules forward and we can put them in. But, okay, thank you. Is there any other miscellaneous conversation? Seeing none, can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you. Second?
I'll second.
Thank you. We are adjourned at 7:27 PM.
Thank you, Ms. Gerhart.
You're welcome.
City Utilities.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call the City Utilities Committee to order. The date is February 23rd. It is 7:27 p.m. All members of my committee are present. Myself as chair, Mrs. Hager as co-chair, and Ms. Miller. Also, members of council, as noted on my sheet, as well as guests. So the last time we met, we were discussing the proposal from IEC to enter into a 13-month or 24 agreement for electric aggregation. And since then, we had both IEC and NOPEC come and give us presentations. And I think right now I would like to open it up for discussion based upon the presentations that we saw last week. If anybody has remarks regarding electricity aggregation. Yes, Ms. Mary.
Well, this is out of my wheelhouse, but I really liked NOPEC's presentation. I liked several of the points, you know, we're with like 9 million other people and getting those rates. We can get out of the contract at any time. I also liked, I don't think fees go to us, like the energy supplier has to pay fees. And I liked that they do stuff for the community, like they can help give us, a table and that might get an event or come out and talk to residents, things like that, so that's what I energy.
Okay, thank you. Did anybody else have any thoughts? Ms. Miller?
I just really want to know the bottom line, because we didn't get that out of either of them. What is the fee that they want to charge right now?
Yeah, so we really only know the range, I believe, because for IEC, it's gonna be whatever day, it's a market rate, right? That we, whatever they can lock in on the day that we do it, so we kind of understand the range. I believe that's similar for NOPEC, like sitting here, we can't know exactly what it's gonna be when we sign, but we understand the range, the ballpark we're talking about. And we understand that the rates are gonna keep going up. So I will say, I think, one of the things I liked about NOPEC is that this is sort of, it's like a council of governments. And so we have another entity that is advocating for our citizens, right? Like in the last year, we've seen electricity, you know, that you take for granted that it's gonna be there. And Mr. Moore, how often is it not there for you when you expect it? And
Too frequently.
and the electric company wants to make that normal, right? And so I feel like we need as many people fighting for our residents against large energy providers and is you know, we can get.
If I remember correctly, the IEC did not have lobbyists go and kind of fight for these kinds of things, but NOPEC does, for like energy reliability.
Yeah.
Correct.
Is that, okay.
Correct.
And then, second question, so this is to vote yes or no to go with Dynergy, and if we don't, we can go with NOPEC. We're not choosing that right now, we're choosing yes or no for Dynergy.
Correct.
Is that correct? Okay.
Right. So whether or not we are going to, I don't know what we said, not do this piece of legislation and move on with something different. So I think, yeah, the first thing is, if we don't do IEC, I think our next choice is probably NOPEC. Yes.
I just want to say, you know, I sort of agree with, I like the ideas of NOPEC, and I realize, unfortunately, it'll take a little bit longer to get them, for us to switch over, which might change the rate, but I'm thinking in the long run, I think we'll be better off with no PEC versus the current census.
I think if I remember correctly, when Todd was telling us about this, if we decided to go with NOPEC, we would be on a variable rate for a single month, once our Dynergy rate runs out. I think if that was right.
So we have Ms. Fargo here. Did you have something, Mr. Harris?
No, go ahead. She'll probably answer this.
Thank you. It's great to see you all again. After the last meeting, I kind of put a time frame together, and then today I really kind of just really pressured our supplier as far as their time frame, so I could get it down to as tight a time frame as I could, just in case you wanted to have some kind of information. So, what I would propose, if you are interested in going with NOPEC, that your next council meeting, which I believe is on the 2nd of March, I don't have the calendar in front of me, but I believe it's on the 2nd of March, that would be your committees, I believe. So you would have a piece of legislation in front of you to join NOPEC. You would have that discussion at your committee, and then on the 9th, your next council meeting, you would pass that on first reading with the emergency clause. But what has to happen is we have to have 2 public hearings on that. So they would be on the 9th. The way we do it is we do public hearings on the same day. So we do one in the afternoon, so if someone wants to come in the afternoon, they can. And then we do one directly before your council meeting. So people have 2 opportunities on the same day. And we advertise those, we have to advertise those 2 weeks before, so we can advertise them yet this week and then next week to meet that statutory requirement. Then we would have 2 public hearings on the 9th. Then after those 2 public hearings are done, you then are free to pass the legislation to join the COG. So that's how we could get that done. Green is on similar time frame. I'm doing Green's public hearings tomorrow. They will not be passing it until March 9th. And they have the same meter read, meaning the May meter read cycle that you're on. So we're anticipating that if we could get you guys to act that quickly, and I don't know how your body responds to that, or if you do that kind of thing, but it would be the same cycle then as Green, and it would keep everybody moving to get that meter read for May. And as far as the pricing is concerned, yes, giving you a price today for June is impossible, because it varies so much. If you'd asked for a price 2 weeks ago when we were having the sub-zero weather, it would have been in the 11s, because the rates skyrocket. So that's, you just have to be, it's gonna be a range. That's all anyone really can do.
Any more questions? Yes, Mr. Harris?
Ms. Fargo, excuse me. I was looking at the website and different things. The month period of, I don't know, I'll call it downtime between us going from what we have now to NOPEC. That 1 month would be just on the Ohio Edison rate.
Correct. Now, what I'm suggesting with this timing is we would avoid that.
Okay.
But I don't know if, I'm throwing it back at you as to if you're willing to, abide by that compressed time frame. That's really the only way we could have that transition be seamless. Otherwise, there would be a month where people would go back to the utility rate, and then they'd get picked up on the aggregation the next month. So that's worst case scenario, I guess, but it would be 1 month.
I just like the fact that everything I've read about NOPEC, you still have that option to opt out. I mean, you can still go do your own homework, which I probably will. But I like the fact that they represent a bigger group of people than just IEC representing, the small amount of people we have here. So, thanks.
Mr. Moore?
Yeah, 2 questions. First, I don't have a specific example, but have you guys done anything with like the smart meters? I know most, if not all of us, have been transferred to smart meters through First Energy, and there seems to be like questioning on the amount of energy being used. Is OPEC,
The problem with smart meters is that's on the regulated side, so not to get too deep in it, but your electric is comprised of three components. So it's the generation, the power plants, where it makes the electrons. It's the transmission, that's those high wires that you see going cross country, and then it's the distribution, those are the wires that come down into your house. The only thing that's deregulated is the generation portion. So those wires that come down into your house, the smart meters, that's all regulated by the PUCO. That's all on tariffs. That's through, the tariff process that they go through. Yeah, there's some hiccups there. There's things that NOPEC can comment on and say, we don't like this should be this way, this should be that way. But because we're on the generation side, we don't have as much say, if you will. We don't have the weight that the utilities do.
okay, thank you. And then secondly, you guys also do gas, from my understanding,
That's
correct? Is there any benefit if we were to join OPEC?
Yes.
A benefit doing both
Yes.
additionally?
Yes, your grant dollars go up. When you
Okay.
have both services, you get additional grant dollars. I don't believe that right now, you may, but I don't think you're getting any kind of grant associated with your gas program. You would get a grant associated with that, and the amount for your electric would go up as well, because you have both services.
Thank you.
Any other remarks on this? Lori, I think I would like to then drop the legislation that we have for IEC.
Okay, so you just want,
Do we have to?
no, that's fine. Vote that you want it with that particular request withdrawn. Will you get, is Mr. Shreve?
No.
No, can you get in touch with Mr. Shreve, or I'll try in the morning and we'll see about doing a new request for NOPEC?
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
All right,
I
we'll
have
work that.
I'm sorry. I have all of the legislation that you need. I can get you every piece of legislation that you need. It's already done. All you have to put your name in it, so.
I will give you my card later. Yeah, if you just vote no, you can do a no vote,
Right, so
and we'll withdraw the request.
can I have a motion to withdraw this request?
I make a motion to withdraw the request.
I'll second.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
In addition to that, we have one piece of pending legislation titled Entering into Agreement Wastewater Treatment Plant Project WPCLF Loan, a resolution of the Council of the City of Barberton authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into a water pollution control loan fund agreement on behalf of the City of Barberton for design, bidding, construction, administration, and construction of wastewater facilities, and designing a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency. Are there any other remarks today from my committee? Any other remarks from the body? From the gallery? Do I have a motion to adjourn?
I have a motion to adjourn.
I'll second.
We are adjourned at 7:39. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Stoll. Before we get into finance and personnel, we're gonna take a 5-minute break. Okay?
We are live.
We are live. Finance and Personnel, Mr. Poorman.
Thank you, President Griffin. This is Finance and Personnel, February 23rd. We're meeting at 5:55 p.m.
7.
5.
I wish it was 5.
Yeah, sorry. In council chambers, myself as chair, Crystal as co-chair, and Lonnie Harris. All council members present and those noted. We have no current legislation, but we have pending legislation, ordinance 21-26, authorizing payment of Minutemen HR Management Services, an ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to authorize payment to Minutemen HR Management Services for the City of Barberton Workers' Compensation Group retro program for 2026 and declaring emergency. Ordinance number 22-2026, entering into contract law, Department Legal Defender's Office, Summit County, an ordinance authorizing the law director to enter into a one-year contract with Legal Defender's Office of Summit County to provide legal presentation to indigent persons in the amount of $250 per case and declaring emergency. Ordinance 25-2026, the title authorizing payment of Everbridge Inc. Nixle contract, the ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to authorize payment in the amount of $5,729.83 to Everbridge Inc. for the annual contract and declaring emergency. Ordinance 30-26, amending ordinance number 89-25, employees not included in non-bargaining pay grades. An ordinance amending 89-25, employees not included in non-bargaining pay grades, and in order to establish the position of part-time director of public safety and declaring emergency. Ordinance 31-20, enter into agreement, group purchasing group, an ordinance authorizing the City of Barberton to enter into agreement of both helping governments across the country, HGAC and the SAVIC buying group, purchasing groups, and declaring emergency. The following were part of a consent agenda, but due to the audit, we thought best that these should be separated out. A note authorizing meter reading system replacement project, an ordinance provided for the issuance of the sale not to exceed $200,000 for the notes, anticipation of the issuance of the bonds for the purpose of paying costs of acquiring and installing advanced radio metering system equipment to be used in connection with the municipal sewer and water system, together with all necessary
Appurtenances.
thank you, appurtenances hereto, and declaring emergency. Ordinance number 2726, note ordinance street improvement project, an ordinance providing that the issuance of the sale not to exceed $1,200,000 of notes, anticipation of the issuance of the bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of improving streets and roads in the city by resurfacing, reconstruction, paving, and making other improvements, together all the necessary related improvements to be. Say that again, please.
Appurtenances.
Appurtenances, thank you. There are design plans to improve by council and declaring emergency. Ordinance 2826. Oh, I just read that one, sorry. Ordinance 2926, note. Ordinance stormwater management system project, an ordinance providing and the issuance of sales of not to exceed $200,000 of notes, anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of improving the city's stormwater management system by construction and improving stormwater drainage facilities, including but not limited to storm sewer, ditches, backflow, prevention devices, wetland construction, catch basins, and other facilities for the retention and control of waters, together with all the necessary appurtenances thereto, and acquiring any real estate or interest in real estate necessary therefore designed in the plans to approve or approved by the council, declaring an emergency.
What rate, 28, 20, 26?
Did I miss that one?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Mrs. Miller. Ordinance 2826, the note ordinance of the water replacement project. Ordinance providing the issuance of the sale of not to exceed 1,200,000 of notes, anticipation of the issuance of the bonds to provide funds to pay costs of making improvements to the water system, including replacement water, mains together, with all necessary appurtenances, therefore declaring emergency. And finally, the ordinance 2726, the operating capital budget ordinance adopting the budget of various funds of the city of Barberton for a period beginning January 1st, 2026, and providing for the administration therefore and declaring emergency. 24, 26. Okay, so I believe is there any comments on any? I think the next item on the agenda is the budget. So, who's the first one up?
You have to close your committee.
Do I have to close the committee? Or do I keep it
No.
open?
Keep it open.
Keep it open.
No, it stays open.
Okay.
Keep it open.
All right, it's gonna be a pretty short one, just myself and Chief Morrow are going to present. Mr. Shreve was off today, wasn't on the plan, so we'll get him scheduled here very soon. So, page 52 is my budget. Not too many changes here, as you can see under the personnel services, on the expenditures. Work with finance to make sure that these are appropriate in terms of increases in healthcare, any type of, well, you got the OPERS, Medicare, health insurance. And then under operation and maintenance, you'll see increase under professional services. The suggestion was to move Mr. Jason Dodson from Rutzel from planning to my budget. He does, as you know, economic development activities. The feeling was that since I'm heavily involved in that maybe that should go in my budget. It doesn't really matter whose budget, it's all general fund money. But that's why there's an increase there. Everything else is pretty status quo there with the telephone, copy release, memberships, office supplies, postage, etc. Are there any questions? Yes.
You haven't spent very much in training and travel, and even last year you were budgeted at 4,000 and I spent 1,500. So why did you increase your training and travel this year?
You know, we try to go to Columbus and sometimes to DC to meet with our representatives. And sometimes we're not going to go down there just to meet with one. So if we can't get it lined up, then we don't go. So we try to get that not every year, but as often as we can.
So like keep it there in case you get the opportunity. Okay.
And sometimes there's small trainings that happen that we're not aware of. There's a law firm out of Columbus that's doing an economic development training, and it's like $30. But kind of like what's on the horizon with AI and those types of things. So those things kind of pop up and they're unannounced. Yes.
we're overspent a little over $1,000 on membership. Is that just a one-time thing, or?
Yeah, so the membership may have gone up. So we belong to Mayor's Association of Stark Portage in Summit County. There's a fee for AMATs, and then OEDA, those types of things.
Okay. Should it be a little higher then, or you think?
No.
55?
Should be 5 and 5.
Okay.
What's the $1 for gasoline and oil?
The finance director puts in those actuals. So, like within operations and maintenance, you can transfer internally without going to council, right? So, one's a little lower here, and you need some more money, you can make that transfer through the finance department. So, but I mean, knowing gas and oil is the verbiage there. It still looks like we've spent $1 every year. I don't know.
Yeah, right, okay.
Yeah.
Rush Jeremy, what's up?
If we could get a gallon of gas for $1, it might make more sense, but. Yes.
I noticed this on several of the budgets. It feels like, you know, you have like that first person like you, and then like your administrative coordinator no longer has anything on that. Is he putting the extra people in a department in a different budget?
No, so when we used to do these exclusively, you had everything separated out. So here you'd have mayor and administrative coordinator. With the online system, they put everyone into one line item. And then when we came back to this, because of the software issues, it stayed that way.
So her or him, whoever you would have as administrative coordinator, the budget is actually just up in yours now?
Yes.
Okay.
And we're split, so, you know, my assistants get a lot of calls about solid waste, trash, so some of their salary comes from there. Same with mine.
Same with yours.
Yeah.
I was gonna ask Jeremy if you could send that out to everybody again, because.
That's split.
Yeah, it's nice to have, just makes more sense once you get to see it. I'm curious why, well, I guess so then the actual doesn't really matter anymore for last year, because it left last year blank by doing that.
For the administrative coordinator?
Yeah.
Yeah, there was nothing budget last year, because I believe that was the first year last year when they
It
moved everything
started.
up. Yeah.
Okay. Makes sense.
Any other questions? All right. So we'll wait on service and building, for possibly next week. So I will invite the chief up to go over the big question.
Thank you. Hello.
July board. Just the last 5 minutes. Our budget, just overview from like last year.
What page?
I'll-
62.
We start on page 62, but I'll just do the high level overview first. You know, we get our job done with personnel. That is the biggest cost. Any increases in personnel is contractual or through amendment agreements, and healthcare costs. So we work with finance to figure all that out. So that's where a lot of that comes from. That's 87, or a little over 87% of our budget. So other 10% is operations. This year's operations are $34,000 more than last year's operations. It's just inflation, cost of gas, tires, taters, that type of stuff. So personnel, operations. Our capital is cruisers. So capital stuff is should last 5 years, more than 5 years. Things that come up along the way with that. So that's the budget this year. So we have two cruisers in there for this year, so that'll keep our fleet up and solid, and we're actually up to a pretty decent point with the fleet now, so caught up from harder times and pandemicness, not building things. You know, you get behind the curve on cruisers, and it takes a while to pick up, so. But I feel pretty good where we're at. So. And we try to be smart about it too. You know, we bought vehicles, so, you know, I mean, that's okay. They're safe, they're roadworthy. So. Long-term debt, we have none. We really try to get grants. We were successful. Last year was our third year of getting COPS grants for 2 officers. So in the last 3 years, we've gotten a COPS grant for officers. So, and how does that work? We hire the officers, we pay them, and then finance director Flaker says, hey, federal government, we got these guys, send us the money. So that's what we do. So it's not necessarily reflected in here, but on the backside it comes in. So that's how a lot of our stuff works. Here it is, you know, we take care of business and then get it back on the back end. So. Yes, sir.
For the grants, I mean, how do you guys find these grants? I mean,
Well,
is it just
there's sites, we know. I mean,
Okay.
the Ohio Criminal Justice Service, most of them are federal government grants.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some private ones, but they're smaller.
Yeah.
So, and a lot of that stems obviously from the Department of Justice, and then flows down through the states to administer a lot of it. So, OCJS, Ohio Criminal Justice Systems, is the state one, and we check their websites out regularly, and we're on the emails. We do good, but I'm proud of like the staff who does it. So I mean I do too, but they do a really great job. So yeah. And we anticipate getting some, you know, like the body cam grants out there. It just hasn't been opened yet or something. So we really feel confident. A lot of these, when you get them at one time, you just go keep kind of going with them. So bulletproof vest grant is one. So yeah, that's where we're at on that.
Excuse me, do we have enough bulletproof vests now?
Yes, yeah, we're on planned replacements.
Okay,
So
thank
over
you.
time, and that's again contractual too. You buy your first one, and then I don't know if you get.
Percentage.
No, we bumped it up last contract, so I think up to maybe 1,400. And a lot of that's a personal preference. You have to meet a minimum level, but you know, some guys like to be real tactical, you know, and wear the heavier stuff. And others like a little more comfort oriented. So.
Like yourself.
You know, and that's fine. They, you know, have to wear it every day. So. Yes, sir, Mr. Stoll.
How did you save so much money on the canine program?
Well, the canine program just kind of popped up the last couple of years. So we run, you know, pretty lean down there, you know. No, our canines are good. So we pay for their food and their upkeep. So, our handlers, we have a real nice relationship with a local vendor too for get food and stuff. So do us right. Yeah. Yes, sir.
So does that not really cost the city anything for the K-9 program?
No, it costs.
Okay, well,
It'll cost at least.
Only 140 was spent last year on that.
Oh, yeah, no, because that, well, like you said, it just kind of popped up, and we were taking it from other accounts to pay for it, so now
Okay.
we actually, you know, hey, we got these, let's fund it. Fund accounting is in flux over time, so we had a big, you know, internally, finance director Flake can tell you, we had a switch last year in how some of the funds were dialed in. If you remember last year, this fund with this number shows this, and this, like across different departments. So my fund, maybe 234 was this, and the street fund 234 was that. And it was hard to read, you know, and so did some internal stuff, especially as they updated the finance world. So we have funds in here that I think could probably be wiped off too. But again, that's kind of a housekeeping, internal housekeeping.
Okay, thank you.
Issue. Yes, Ms. Griffin.
Thank you, Chief. So I'm looking at page 62.
Yes.
All right. So bulletproof vests, there's not great actuals because it was like 0, 638, then over 15,000, and then last year we don't have an actual. Is there like flows to like how the vests work?
Yeah,
So like
depends when
some
people
years.
get hired, and
Okay.
then when they're due to
Okay.
get a new one.
So
And
you-
internally, I would take that out of my operating funds,
Yeah.
you know, under that equipment, reserve, uniform, maintenance stuff, and that's how I pay for it, so.
Okay.
Again, sometimes on the back end, I don't, I'll let Mr. Flaker, Mr. Wilson take care of it.
If a
You know,
board-
that part of it, we're operational, but yeah, you can have some years where you need a lot.
Right.
And some years where you don't need any,
Okay.
so.
I wondered.
We always apply for the grants, we get them, and we use them properly, so.
Do they need replaced if they take a bullet?
Yeah, the Bronson thing, I mean, I hope that never happens, but
Oh,
yes.
I hope not either. I don't know.
But yes, yeah, absolutely. Honestly, I mean, I think they probably last longer, but, they're urban fibers and things break down over time, so, plus they get sneaky, so, yeah. But, I
Can you
mean,
wash them?
well,
No.
it's,
They're covered.
but yes, I could go on and on, but yes,
No, I was-
we would absolutely replace
I
it,
like
yeah.
learning about things
Yeah.
while you're up there talking.
And they're good for 5 years.
5 years, okay, that's good to know.
Right.
What is the COPS grant?
That's, COPS grant is the ones that received from the federal government, Department of Community Oriented Policing, for the 2 officers, 25, 24, and 23.
Okay,
So each one was $250,000.
okay,
So then as we draw that down, the numbers will change. So we get it, and then we will hire off of that, and then, so this officer got hired, say, in July, and their salary came out, we say, hey, Jeremy, take this out for this officer, this is
Yeah.
the slotted officer, as we hire over time.
so then as the money comes in, it just goes back into your fund?
Well, it doesn't go back into, it goes into one of these revenue
One.
funds somewhere along the way.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then the towing and impounding fees.
Mhm.
Do you get those back through the courts? Is that people have to pay?
No, that's what we receive, we take in
Yeah.
for towing and impounding.
Okay.
Charges.
Yeah, that's the fees that is set by council.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Last one. For the telephone line,
Yeah.
can you explain that? Or,
Nope, increase,
No?
telephone, we talked, did we talk about this last year?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
we did, and I'm only laughing
Here.
because
Well, you're good.
it's always been kind of an anomaly on how we came up with telephone,
Okay.
right? So back in the day, the way I've been understood, was that, the telephone system served everybody, so it got split up equally amongst departments. And then, as different people got more telephones, that cost was just allocated out maybe per phone or something like that. So that was one where finance stuck in a number every year.
Okay, got it. Okay.
Now, we do have some, but we have increased some telephone costs over the years. Every cruiser now has its own phone. So the officers don't have to use their own phones, they should be using their own phones to, call somebody, to do something, to,
Okay.
call my phone. But yeah.
Well, thank you.
Yeah, well, another increase too, we need, in the cars now, they're little mobile hotspots, right? So we have, the SIM cards, Cradle Points, Mr. Stoll could tell you all about it. He was a vanguard of bringing IT to the police department back in the day. And so we actually have really solid working systems, up in the cruisers, so. Yes, Ms.
Me again.
Sure.
Page 64, do you have enough for gas and oil? Because you budgeted under what you spent last year.
Yeah, I'm hopeful. We are, and again, budgets are, for us, in so many ways, it's a framework. So, like
Yeah.
the mayor just referenced, so, oh boy, we're getting towards the end of the year, and I say, we got some in, I don't know, let me pick one. We got some in jail operations, right? In order to make prisoner meals, and so we'll transfer it to gas and oil, so. But I will say, we've, and since I've been chief, we've always met our budget, and we're very cost conscious, I can tell you where every overtime dollar goes to. So if you really want to know, I can show you. You know, but, and so we do it responsibly. We take it seriously. So we do. We're, you know, I'm a resident too, so you know, want it to be, you know. So, yes, sir, Mr. Harrison.
I'll attest to the fact that he can tell you where every overtime dollar goes. Because I've sat in his office when I was a supervisor down there. And yeah, there's a nice little pamphlet of everything.
We're not cheap, but we're effective and efficient. Right, Monty?
Yes, sir.
So.
Any other questions?
All right, thank you. If you do have any questions, hit me up. I'm around. So, and I know when you took the tour before, you want to go out into your, you know, your wards, give a holler, and ride around.
The ride along is awesome. Highly
Go
recommend.
for it.
I'm just gonna stand out in my front yard and walk and go up and down State Street.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. Okay. Well, that's it?
That's it.
Okay,
tonight.
all right, great. Okay. Any other marks or questions from the council, gallery? Okay. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. The time is 8:21. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Foreman. This is a regular legislative meeting of the Barberton Council. This is Monday, February 23rd. The time is 8:21. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Rise. Prayer. Invocation by Mr. Stoll.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. As we begin tonight, let's take a moment to reflect on our shared purpose here. We are here to bring our best selves, to listen with open minds, to challenge ideas constructively, and to work with integrity. May our efforts tonight lead to thoughtful decisions to bring out the best in all of us and best serve our community. Amen.
Amen. Amen. Clerk, please call the roll.
President Griffin,
Here.
Mr. Stoll,
Here.
Mrs. Miller,
Here.
Mrs. Hager,
Here.
Mr. Foreman,
Here.
Mr. Moore,
Here.
Mrs. Beck,
Here.
Ms. Gerhardt,
Present.
Mr. Harris.
Present.
Approval of the minutes. Approval of the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, February 9th, 2026, as presented.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the approval of the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, February 9th, 2026, as presented.
I second that.
Are there any remarks? All in favor? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same side. Minutes are adopted. Financial report. Acceptance of the financial department report for the month of January 2026 as presented. Mr. Foreman.
He needs a motion
Oh,
to
motion,
accept.
okay.
Motion to approve.
The motion approved.
Or the finance report, right?
Good. The finance report. Second, Mr. Stoll.
Second?
It was motioned by Mr. Foreman and second by Mr. Stoll to accept the finance department report for the month of January 2026 as presented. Are there any remarks? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The finance report is accepted. Petitions and claims.
There are none.
Matters requested.
They've all been dispersed, they're in the packets.
Citizens addressing council.
We had one, and she spoke during the committee meeting, so we're good.
Okay, thank you. Consent agendas, ordinance, and resolutions.
Ordinance number 21-2026, presented by Mr. Foreman. Title, Authorized Payment, Minutemen HR Management Services. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to authorize payment to Minutemen HR Management Services for the City of Barberton's Workers' Compensation Group Retro Program for 2026 and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 22-2026, presented by Mr. Foreman. Title, Enter into Contract, Law Department Legal Defender's Office of Summit County. An ordinance authorizing the law director to enter into a one-year contract with the Legal Defender's Office of Summit County to provide legal representation to indigent persons in the amount of $250 per case and declaring an emergency. Resolution number 23-2026, presented by Mr. Stoll. Title, Enter into Agreement Wastewater Treatment Plant Project WPCLF Loan. A resolution of the Council of the City of Barberton authorizing the mayor to apply for, accept, and enter into a water pollution control loan fund agreement, WPCLF, on behalf of the City of Barberton for design, bidding, construction, administration, and construction of wastewater facilities, and designating a dedicated repayment source for the loan and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 25-2026, presented by Mr. Poorman. Title, Authorized Payment, Everbridge Incorporated Nixle Contract. An ordinance authorizing the Director of Finance to authorize payment in the amount of $5,729.83 to Everbridge Incorporated for the annual Nixle contract and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 30-2026, presented by Mr. Poorman. Title, Amending Ordinance number 89-2025, Employees Not Included in Non-Bargaining Pay Grades. An ordinance amending ordinance number 89-2025, Employees Not Included in Non-Bargaining Pay Grades, in order to establish the position of part-time Director of Public Safety and declaring an emergency. Ordinance number 31-2026, presented by Mr. Poorman. Title, Enter into Agreement Group Purchasing Groups. An ordinance authorizing the City of Barberton to enter into agreement with both Helping Governments Across the Country, HGAC, and SAVIC Buying Group, Purchasing Groups, and declaring an emergency. This ends the consent agenda.
Motion to suspend. Ms. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Mr. Stoll.
I second that motion.
Thank you. A motion was made by Ms. Gerhart, second by Mr. Stoll, to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Poorman?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mr. Stoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Ms. Gerhart.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of everything on the consent agenda.
Mr. Stoll.
I second that motion.
A motion was made by Ms. Gerhart, second by Mr. Stoll, to adopt the ordinance listed on the consent agenda. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Stoll?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Poorman?
Yes.
First reading of ordinance and resolutions.
Ordinance number 26-2026, presented by Mr. Poorman. Note ordinance, meter reading system replacement project. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale not to exceed $200,000 of the notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying cost of acquiring and installing advanced radio metering system equipment to be used in connection with the municipal sewer and water systems, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto, and declaring an emergency. Fiscal Officer's Certificate. To the Council of the City of Barberton. As Fiscal Officer of the City of Barberton, Ohio, I certify in connection with your proposed issue of not to exceed $200,000 of the notes, to be issued in anticipation of the issuance of bonds, for the purpose of paying of acquiring and installing advanced radio metering system equipment to be used in connection with the municipal sewer and water systems, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto. The improvement. 1. The estimated life or period of usefulness of the improvement is at least 5 years. 2. The estimated maximum maturity of the bonds calculated in accordance with section 133.20 of the revised code is 10 years, being my estimate of the life or period of usefulness of the improvement. If notes in anticipation of the bonds are outstanding later than the last day of December of the 5th year following the issuance of the original issue of notes, the period in excess of those 5 years shall be deducted from the maximum maturity of the bonds. Therefore, the maximum maturity of the bonds is 5 years. The maximum maturity of the notes is April 20th, 2032, which is 15 years from April 20th, 2017, the date of issuance of the original notes issued for this purpose. Signed, Jeremy Flaker, Director of Finance, City of Barberton, Ohio, dated February 13th, 2026.
Motion to suspend, Mrs. Beck.
Mr. Foreman.
Sorry. Make a motion to suspend.
Nope.
Okay.
That's me.
I move that the rule as required. Okay, ready?
Yeah.
Okay. I move that the rule as required by section 5.1, 5.10 of the Barberton Charter be suspended.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Poorman. And second, got a
Yeah,
second?
Mr.
I'll
Harris.
Mr.
second
Harris
it.
is second. Yeah.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like
Okay.
to second Mr. Foreman's motion on suspension.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Poorman and seconded by Mr. Harris to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Please call the roll on suspension.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Stoll?
Yes.
Mr. Poorman?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Poorman.
I move that the ordinance resolution 26-2026 to be adopted.
It's an ordinance, not a resolution.
Oh,
Ordinance number 18.
I move that the ordinance of 26-2026 be adopted.
I'll second that.
Nope.
No,
No, it has to be,
The
Has
co-chair.
to be his co-chair.
Mr.
Okay.
well,
Mis-
Mr. Stoll
Is
is the
Stoll the
co-chair.
co-chair? Okay.
Mr. Stoll.
Yes, I second that motion.
Okay. Are there any remarks? Please call the roll on adoption.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mr. Poorman?
Yes.
Mr. Stoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
All right, second readings of ordinances and
Nope, nope.
resolutions.
We have more. We have four
Oh.
more.
Yeah.
I just have them on separate sheets because I have so much to read.
Okay.
Ordinance number 27-2026, presented by Mr. Poorman, title, Note Ordinance, Street Improvement Project. An ordinance providing for the issuance and sale of not to exceed $1,200,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of improving streets and roads in the city by resurfacing, reconstructing, paving, and making other improvements together with all necessary related improvements and appurtenances thereto as designated in the plans approved or to be approved by council and declaring an emergency. Fiscal Officer's Certificate to the Council of the City of Barberton, Ohio. As Fiscal Officer of the City of Barberton, Ohio, I certify in connection with your proposed issuance of not to exceed $1,200,000 of notes, the notes, to be issued in anticipation of the issuance of bonds, the bonds, for the purpose of paying costs of improving streets and roads in the city by resurfacing, reconstructing, paving, and making other improvements together with all necessary related improvements and appurtenances thereto as designated in the plans approved or to be approved by council. The improvement. 1. The estimated life or period of usefulness of the improvements is at least 5 years. 2. The estimated maximum maturity of the bonds calculated in accordance with section 133.20 of the revised code is 15 years. If notes in anticipation of the bonds are outstanding later than the last day of December of the 5th year following the year of issuance of the original issue of notes, the period in excess of those 5 years shall be deducted from that maximum maturity of the bonds. The maximum maturity of the notes is April 13th, 2042, which is 20 years from April 13th, 2022, the date of issuance of the original notes issued for this purpose. Signed, Jeremy Flaker, Director of Finance, City of Barberton, Ohio, dated February 13th, 2026.
I think I am.
You can use the same script as you did for the first one.
Okay,
Just put the right number in.
Ooh, you got me. Motion to adopt? Motion to suspend, right?
Motion to suspend.
Motion to suspend. Mr. Poorman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
Mr. Harris?
I second that
Nope.
motion.
No, Mr. Stoll.
Co-chair.
No. Mr. Stoll.
I second that motion.
Thank you. A motion was made by Mr. Poorman and second by Mr. Stoll. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call a roll on adoption.
Suspension.
Suspension.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Stoll?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mr. Poorman?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Mr. Poorman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance 27-2026.
And I second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Stoll. A motion was made by Mr. Poorman and second by Mr. Stoll. Are there any remarks? Please call a roll on adoption.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Foreman.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Stoll,
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mrs. Beck.
Yes.
'28, 2026.
28/2026. Must have changed something.
You want my copy?
Yeah. This is. Like the wrong one or something.
I think you just got them out of order a little bit, that's all. Tell you what, here's 20, I just need these. And there's 29. I just need these to go in
Okay.
You good?
All right.
There we go.
Presented by Mr. Foreman. Title Note Ordinance Water Main Replacement Project.
I'll tell you in a minute.
Yep.
Okay. An ordinance providing for the issuance of sale or of note not to exceed $1,200,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds to provide funds to pay costs of making improvements to the water system, including replacing water mains together with all necessary appurtenances thereto and declaring an emergency.
That's my job.
I know. You got it all bowled up.
All I need is a motion and a motion by Mr. Foreman and a second by Mr. Stoll
I need
to
a-
suspend it.
I need a motion by Mr. Foreman and a second by Mr. Stoll to suspend it.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
I second that motion.
Thank you. Motion was made by Mr. Foreman and second by Mr. Stoll to suspend it. Clerk, please call a roll on adoption.
Suspension.
Suspension.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Foreman,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Stoll,
Yes.
Mrs. Beck.
Yes.
A motion was made by,
Nope,
no,
you want Mr. Foreman's motion to adopt.
Mr. Foreman. Okay, well, motion to adopt. Mr. Foreman,
Thank you, Mr. President. I move to the adoption of ordinance 28-26.
a second.
I second that motion.
It's 2026.
He's still at 28, but we're doing the adoption. And then we'll be 29.
Okay. Are there any remarks?
Yes, President Kirkman.
Yes.
Lori, was there anything else that you needed to read with 28? These past two, you read big
Yeah,
long
yeah.
things.
Oh, God, I'm sorry. I'm trying to
Yeah.
keep it all straight.
I know.
Yeah.
It's
I
like,
know.
thank you. Let me read it's the fiscal officer certificate
Just so this is all,
Yeah.
on the
yeah.
record.
okay, thank you.
To the Council of the City of Barberton, Ohio, as fiscal officer of the City of Barberton, Ohio, I certify in connection with your proposed issue of not to exceed, this is the one, yeah, this is 28. We're right?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry, I'm doubting myself.
Yes, I just
Okay.
said that.
Not to exceed $1,200,000 of notes, the notes, to be issued in anticipation of the issuance of the bonds, to provide funds to pay costs for making of improvements to the water system, including replacing water mains together with all necessary appurtenances thereto, the improvement. The estimated life or period of usefulness of the improvement is at least 5 years. The estimated maximum maturity of the bonds calculated in accordance with section 133.20 of the revised code is 40 years. If notes in anticipation of the bonds are outstanding later than the last day of December of the 5th year following the year of issuance of the original issue of notes, the period in excess of those 5 years shall be deducted from the maximum maturity of the bonds. The maximum maturity of the notes is April 4th, 2045, which is 20 years from April 9th, 2045, which is 20 years from April 9th, 2025. The date of issuance of the original notes and issuance for this purpose. Signed, Jeremy Flaker, Director of Finance, City of Barberton, Ohio, dated February 13th, 2026. Now,
Now we can go for suspension.
nope, vote.
Vote.
They already voted for suspension.
Okay, all in favor?
Nope. It's a roll call vote.
A roll call, okay.
Mrs. Beck,
Yes.
Mr. Stoll,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Poorman,
Yes.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager,
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Okay, now we're to 29.
29.
Basically, we just need a suspension motion and second.
Suspension. Motion to suspend.
Thank you, Mr. President.
You
I
didn't
move-
read anything.
Well, I was gonna read it out.
Okay,
that's
right.
Oh.
Let's give it to him. Wait,
Read it,
stop. Okay.
read it.
29,
Yes.
Right.
2026, presented by Mr. Poorman. Title, Note Ordinance Stormwater Management System Project. An ordinance providing for the issuance and the sale of not to exceed $200,000 of notes in anticipation of the issuance of bonds for the purpose of paying the cost of improving the city's stormwater management system by constructing and improving stormwater drainage facilities, including but not limited to storm sewers, ditches, backflow prevention devices, wetland construction, catch basins, and other facilities for the retention and control of waters, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto, and acquiring any real estate or interest in real estate necessary therefore as designated in the plans approved or to be approved by council, and declaring an emergency. And the fiscal officer's certificate to the council of the city of Barberton, Ohio, as fiscal officer of city of Barberton, Ohio, I certify in connection with your proposed issuance of not to exceed $200,000 of notes, the notes, to be issued in anticipation of the issuance of bonds, the bonds, for the purpose of paying costs of improving the city's stormwater management system by constructing and improving stormwater drainage facilities, including but not limited to storm sewers, ditches, backflow prevention devices, wetland construction, catch basins, and other facilities for the retention and control of waters, together with all necessary appurtenances thereto, and acquiring any real estate or interest in real estate necessary therefore, as designated in the plans approved or to be approved by council. The improvement. 1. The estimated life or period of usefulness of the improvement is at least 5 years. 2. The estimated maximum maturity of the bonds calculated in accordance with section 133.20 of the revised code is 40 years. If notes in anticipation of the bonds are outstanding later than the last day of December of the 5th year following the year of issuance of the original notes, the period in excess of those 5 years shall be deducted from that maximum security of the bonds. 3, the maximum maturity of the notes is April 12, 2043, which is 20 years from April 12, 2023, the date of issuance of the original notes issued for this purpose. Signed, Jeremy Flaker, Director of Finance, City of Barberton, Ohio, dated February 13th, 2026.
Okay, so we need a motion to suspend.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter be suspended.
I second that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Stoll. A motion was made by Mr. Poorman, second by Mr. Stoll, to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call the roll on suspension.
Mr. Stoll.
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart.
Yes.
Mrs. Miller.
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
Mr. Moore.
Yes.
Mrs. Beck.
Yes.
Mr. Harris.
Yes.
Mr. Poorman.
Yes.
Motion to adopt, Mr. Poorman.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance 29-26.
I second that motion.
A motion was made by Mr. Poorman and seconded by Mr. Stoll. Are there any remarks? Clerk, please call a roll on adoption.
Mr. Poorman?
Yes.
Mr. Harris?
Yes.
Mrs. Beck?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Hager?
Yes.
Mrs. Miller?
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart?
Yes.
Mr. Stoll?
Yes.
Ordinance number 24-2026, presented by Mr. Poorman. Title, 2026 Operating and Capital Budget. An ordinance adopting a budget for various funds of the City of Barberton for the period beginning January 1st, 2026, and providing for the administration thereof and declaring an emergency. This is the first reading. The second reading will be on March 9th, 2026, and the third and final reading will be on Monday, March 23rd, 2026. This ends the first readings. The second readings of ordinances and resolutions, we have none. The third reading of ordinances and resolutions, ordinance number 8-2026, presented by Mrs. Beck and Ms. Gerhart. Title, Adoption of the New Development Code. An ordinance adopting the new City of Barberton Development Code. Heidick isn't here. And declaring an emergency. This is the third reading and final reading. The first reading was on February 2nd, 2026, and the second reading was on February 9th, 2026. So all we need is a motion for adoption.
Motion for adoption. Excuse me tonight, I kinda got my ducks out of the order here. For adoption, a motion to adopt.
Mrs. Beck.
Mrs. Beck.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move for the adoption of ordinance 8-2026.
Thank you. Second by Mrs. Miller.
I'll second that motion.
It's me, but,
Ms. Gerhart.
Ms. Gerhart.
yep, both our committees had it, that's why.
Okay.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to second Mrs. Beck's motion on adoption.
Okay. A motion was made by Mrs. Beck, second by Ms. Gerhart. Are there any remarks? Please call roll on adoption.
Mrs. Miller,
Yes.
Mr. Stoll,
Yes.
Mr. Moore,
Yes.
Mr. Harris,
Yes.
Mr. Poorman,
Yes.
Ms. Gerhart,
Yes.
Mrs. Beck,
Yes.
Mrs. Hager.
Yes.
This ends the third reading. We have appointments next. We have two.
Appointments.
To the Barberton Tax Incentive Review Council, TIRC. We'll do these as all those in favor vote. Miss Stacy Carr. And then we have Corey Hunt, but we need to do each name separate.
Okay. We will do these individually. Are there any objections to Miss Stacy Carr's appointment? Seeing none, can I have a motion to appoint?
So moved.
Seconded.
Second.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Ms. Carr is appointed to Barberton's Tax Incentive Review Council, TIRC.
The second vote will be for Mr. Corey Hunt.
For Mr. Hunt, are there any objections to Mr. Hunt's appointment? Seeing none, can I have a motion to appoint?
I
Mrs.
make
Beck?
motion to appoint Corey Hunt.
Thank you. Mrs. Miller?
I second that motion.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Corey Hunt is appointed to Barberton's Tax Incentive Review Council.
To the Barberton Housing Council per the Ohio Revised Code, Section 3735.65, through 3735.70. We have Mr. William Judge, Mayor Judge, and Mr. Corey Hart. So we'll do those separately as well.
Yes. Are there any objections to Mayor Judge's appointment? Seeing none, can I have a motion to appoint Mrs. Beck?
I'll make a motion to appoint Mayor William Judge to the Barberton Housing Council.
Mrs. Miller?
I'll second that.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mayor Judge is appointed to the Barberton Housing Council.
The next one is for also Mr. Corey Hunt for the same council.
Are there any objections to Mr. Hunt's appointment? Seeing none, can I have a motion to appoint? Mrs. Beck.
I'll make that motion to appoint Corey Hunt to the Barberton Housing Council.
Mrs. Miller?
I'll second that motion.
All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Mr. Corey Hunt is appointed to the Barberton Housing Council. Do you have any miscellaneous and unfinished business? Communications from the mayor.
No communications
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. With nothing else, do I hear a motion to adjourn? Mr. Stoll.
I move that we adjourn.
Mrs. Miller?
I second that motion.
It was moved by Mr. Stoll and second by Mrs. Miller that we are adjourned. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Opposed? I don't think so. We are adjourned at 8:56.